Wife cheated, so I tricked her into publicly admitting to having the affair and herpes. In college, I met the woman who I thought was my one. We dated for about 2 years and had a big-ass wedding after a 10-month engagement. Her family was pretty well-to-do in a small southern town. We were both continuing our educations, and I was also working to support us. I was pursuing a master's in engineering while she was finishing her doctorate in anthropology. Over the summer, an opportunity came up for her to make some extra money going as an aide on a religious studies trip to Jamaica. I didn't hesitate when she asked me about it. I mean, she was going to get to visit Jamaica and get paid for it. I saw no downside other than missing her being at home for 6 weeks. Little did I know at the time, but she had been fucking the professor. He had hung out with us, smoked my weed, and drank my fucking beer. I considered him a friend, who arranged the trip for a couple months, and it was a getaway for them to bang all over the island. I, clueless and happy, went about the weeks while she was gone, taking extra shifts so I could match what she made in our account and surprise her. What a dipshit, right? One of the students from the trip actually sought me out to clue me in. I didn't believe him until I started looking for evidence on my own. I broke down and checked her texts while she was sleeping, and nothing was there. There were a few voicemails, so I decided to listen, and there it was. A message from that giant asshole saying how exciting it was that I almost caught them. I opened up her laptop and hit the emails after that. It was piles and piles of shit, making fun of me for not knowing, fucking in our bed, and laughing about it. There was so much, and I was so heartbroken. Still too hurt to take any action. I was lost. I had no idea what to do, so I sat on it for a couple weeks and acted as normally as I could. I noticed everything now. I felt so stupid for not seeing it before. So many signs. One stuck out in particular. I noticed that our stash of homemade weed lube, if you've never tried it, I highly recommend giving it a go, was going down even though we weren't having sex. It was obvious they were also using the fruits of my labor to get off more effectively. This really pissed me off. Like, unreasonably so. Hulk, fucking mad. It finally all hit me. I was a goddamn joke to these assholes, and they were using the lube I made and fucking in my bed. I didn't hurt anymore. I just wanted to make them hurt. So, while she was studying at the library, I made a new batch of lube. I put enough weed in it for it to smell like normal, but I also added some poison ivy from our backyard to the mixture, and after refilling the spray bottle we used for application, I waited. A few days went by, and I'm working extra so I can be out of the house more. And bam! Bait taken. That night, after she goes to sleep, my plan goes into action. I sneak her phone away and delete my contact while replacing his phone number in his contact as mine. I go to bed but can't sleep because it feels like I'm 5 and tomorrow is Christmas. Dawn arrives and she's in the shower. I get a text. I'm super itchy. Are you okay? Now, Lord, now is my time. Look, I thought it had cleared up, but I guess I had a flare-up. I'm sorry, but I've got herpes and I guess you do now too. I heard this bitch squeak in the shower. I'm covering my mouth, damn near losing it. I went on to tell her that it was time to end things now. A new semester was about to start, and I kind of have a little crush on another TA. I wanted her mad. This is a woman that never got told no growing up and never had to deal with rejection, let alone from a balding dude in his 50s with herpes. When she got out of the shower, it was obvious she had been crying, but I could see the anger in her eyes. I could see how uncomfortable she was, squirming at the table, drinking coffee, and mulling the situation over. Another little nudge is what she needed. The reply she got to her pages and pages of anger and sadness was, "Thanks for the good times, but can you keep this a secret between us? I don't want to ruin my chances with anyone else." She's flush with anger now, just seething. She gathered her keys and headed out the door without even saying goodbye. I knew where she was going. I booted up her laptop and set it to reformat, deleting her dissertation and any notes pertaining to it before following her to campus. I parked a few lots over and rush over to his office, where I find her screaming at him for giving her herpes. There were lots of people there, professors, aides, students, other faculty. I'm dying. He is beyond embarrassed and confused as fuck. She is ugly crying in front of her peers. I'm in heaven. I didn't even care that people were going to think I had herpes too. The fallout was apocalyptic in their department. He lost his job due to a code of conduct at the university. We got divorced. The following year state law was we had to be separated for 1 full year before being granted a divorce. I got to keep most of the assets, primarily savings, and not a ton, but I worked for it. She never finished her doctorate and went on to be a perpetually pregnant housewife that sells Herbalife on Facebook, and he teaches high school now. It took a few years for it all to unfold, but watching it was glorious. TL, DR, wife cheated, so I made her think she had herpes and engineered a social situation for her to out her affair publicly herself. Steal my money, take my house, put me into debt. Now, it's time for me to ruin your life. My ex stole from me close to 90,000 euros, which I saved up for 9 years. When I took her to court, I lost due to lack of evidence. At the moment, I felt destroyed and lost it all. She even sued me for emotional damages, and I had to pay 55,000 euros. So I was forced to sell my house and take a big loan from the bank. I stayed at a friend's, and he helped me find some good lawyers. And we just found an amazing one. In one day, he helped me so much and even helped me get the info of who took money from my bank account. Something was wrong. The 29th of June, a transaction happened in my name. I never made it. I was not in the country at the time. Well, would you look at that? I was ready to get back into court when I found out that she bought my house. Well, I have a safe that I never told her about, hidden in the bathroom behind the cabinet. Well, she ruined my life, so why not ruin hers even more? So I had an accomplice that helped me buy some drugs worth about 400 euros and used a friend to hide it there. The safe has a 4-digit code. That being 40, I never got to change it to something else. And before taking her to court again, I had that same friend who hid the drugs turn her in. It took about a week for the cops to receive a mandate to search the house. They found nothing in the first 2 hours, and they wouldn't have if my friend hadn't forgotten to leave the safe cover open. That 400 euro worth of drugs is equal to a 5,000 euro fine and 12 years of prison. Well, I'm not done yet. Court time again. I had my lawyer get the footage from when the money from the bank was transferred, and I also had a document showing that I was not in the country at the time. We also found out the account to which the money was sent. The name was that of my ex. Well, look how the tables have just turned. My lawyer also demanded payment for emotional damage, all the money that was stolen, the house, and also money equivalent to 2 times the debt I had in the bank, which is equal to about 140,000 euros. The look on her face when everything came down crashing on her was totally worth it. And on top of the 12 years from drug possession, she received an additional 25 years for theft and false testimony. Enjoy it, bitch! Ex cheated with her cousin and expected to save face. I think not. For context, it was her cousin-in-law. Let's start this story by saying this happened 12 years ago. I'm now happily married with 3 children and regret absolutely nothing. I was with my new ex for 3 years. I had noticed that she was being extremely controlling. I was expected to give every little detail of my day and tell her my schedule in advance, and if I deviated from that, she would be very upset. She chalked it up to just bad feelings she was having and shrugged it off as her paranoia for past relationships of infidelity. I had never once cheated or strayed, and I never gave her a reason to act like this. It felt unbecoming of my fiancé to act in such a way. Now, this is where it gets juicy. After she had asked for my schedule to make plans, as mine tends to be more hectic than hers, I noticed she was texting someone. In my line of work, if I put in more than 40 hours, I have the ability to take time off at will as long as the work is completed at a later date. I was very good friends with a brother, and still am. We laugh about this to this day, and he actively reminds her of it. I messaged him stating I wanted to do something special for her a little bit earlier than our anniversary to make sure it was a special surprise. They both worked in the same fabrication facility. He was a fabricator, and she a shipping manager. He was kind enough to let me know her schedule. That's where the discrepancy falls into place. Without my knowledge, she was foregoing overtime. She worked 12-hour shifts Monday through Friday, with the exception of Wednesday, when she would only work half a day. She had been taking Wednesdays off right around the time that she started getting extremely controlling. Lucky for me, I had stacked several days of leisure time up, so taking a Wednesday off for me was not an issue. A few days go by, and Wednesday's here. I put on my work gear and leave for work. I was expecting her to leave as our apartment complex had 2 exits on the same road. I could see directly across from a shopping center, so I parked my car near the back and waited. After about an hour, I noticed a very specific red Mustang with a specific decal on the back window. It was her cousin-in-law. I had also done my due diligence. I took an old laptop, which we kept on our desk in an office area with a full view of the living room, bedroom door, and bathroom, plus the kitchen. I had set it up for remote access and had it alert me when the webcam noticed movement. Giving her the benefit of the doubt, I thought he may be dropping something off or coming over to assist her with something, as her family sometimes does. Sure enough, a message came through, so I remote into my laptop. He walks through the door without skipping a beat. She unbuttons his shirt and begins kissing him. I created a URL link for the live stream. And as she was preoccupied, we had a family group text and a friend group text. They were both part of it, but at the current time, they were currently indisposed and didn't look at their phones. They didn't even wait. They could have gone to the bedroom, but no. They decided to get freaky deaky right there on the couch. I sent the link off to the friend group chat and the family group chat. Within minutes, I'm getting calls nonstop from friends and family alike. There was no turning back. She was getting blown up, but she was ignoring her phone. Not until the fourth or fifth call came through did they decide to take a break. For context, the state I live in allows recording of personal property regardless of occupancy. I was the only one on the lease. She wasn't allowed to be on the lease because of poor credit. The call she had picked up was from her cousin's mother, who she was banging. She answers the phone on speaker, and I kid you not, the first words out of his mother's mouth were, "Stop fucking my son." They both became rigid, and she began to stutter over her words, saying, "What are you talking about?" etc. The mother then divulged that there was a live feed of them sent out by me to her family. She grabbed every pillow off the couch and covered herself up. The cousin staggered off, trying to put on his pants and shoes, just to trip himself up and bang his head off of my coffee table, leaving it with a divot. By this time, I had made my way to the front of the apartment complex. I was there to greet the adulterer as he came out of the front exit. He froze and began to cry, apologizing profusely. I'm not going to lie. What happened afterward wasn't my best moment, and I nearly got into legal trouble if it weren't for the fact that he was trespassing on private property. Let's just say I had a cast for 6 weeks, and he wasn't in any family photos for months. I went up to the apartment, where she was now fully clothed and crying inconsolably. I asked her if it was snot or on her face. Then I told her not to answer because it didn't matter anyway. I gave her 1 hour to remove all her belongings, as again, everything in the apartment was mine except for clothes, some makeup, and a few kitchen utensils. Her mother would not let her move in, as she was just filled with embarrassment. Same for her brothers, and the cousin's mother kicked her son out. Rumor spread around our town very quickly, and for a lack of better words, she was untouchable. Thanks for watching. Cheating is the worst thing someone can do to you, so don't cheat our rules. Smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. See you tomorrow. Big hugs.